Hi, Mr. Redmond. Thanks so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here, Melissa.
So first things first, tell us about 48 Hills.
48hills.org is a digital daily newspaper. When I left The Guardian about a year and a half ago, I was thinking, okay, what's the next step in my life? And I thought, San Francisco has always needed a progressive daily newspaper. Now, 25 years ago, that would have cost me multiples of tens of millions of dollars for a press. And now, for $500, I can set up a WordPress site. And the world headquarters is in my basement. And we're trying to do a startup digital daily newspaper.
And it's been pretty successful, right? I mean, it seems to be one of the...
I'm getting a lot of attention. I'm getting a lot of page views. I'm getting a lot of readership. And it's a nonprofit. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, which I think may be the future of some types of journalism. Community-supported journalism, like community-supported agriculture. It's community-supported journalism. And we've gotten, at least 300 different donations from different people, some big, a lot of them small. And so I'm getting a lot of support.
Well, so you mentioned that you were at The Guardian, the San Francisco Bay Guardian, a weekly progressive newspaper that recently shut down after more than 40 years, I guess, of publishing. 48 years of being published. What does that mean for the progressive, if anything, for progressive movement, the progressive movement and progressive media in San Francisco?
Well, it's a blow. It's a sad, sad day. I mean, it's always sad when a newspaper closes. You and I both have a lot of experience with newspapers, and you know that newspapers have a value to a community. Mm-hmm. This one, I think, in particular, had value beyond just being a newspaper. The Guardian was a community institution. And I think the progressive community in San Francisco felt properly that the Guardian was their voice. And at the Guardian, all the years, the 31 years I was there, I tried to make it the voice of progressive San Francisco. And as a community institution, it's very sad to see it gone. On the other hand, I am trying very hard with 48 Hills to fill in that gap. I need to raise enough money to hire some more staff. But I am trying to fill in that gap. And it may be that the future of this type of news media is digital as opposed to print.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of moving forward, do you think that the effort's going to be to sort of resurrect the Bay Guardian as it is now, as this weekly print paper, or to move it to digital or move that content to a platform more like yours?
Well, if somebody came forward with a bunch of money who wanted to buy the Guardian, resurrect it in print, renovate all the news racks, invest some money into it, I wouldn't stand in the way. I think it's great. I wish somebody would. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I think that just with the economics of the industry, I mean, the thing about print is it's not only expensive to print the paper, it's expensive to distribute it. Mm-hmm. You have to pay to buy and maintain all these news racks all over the city that you see, and you have to pay someone to go out and put the papers in the news racks, and you have to pay someone to go get the old ones and clean them up. Distribution and printing are expensive. Mm-hmm. So the digital model doesn't have those expenses, which allows me to spend that money on writers.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
I'm sure very grateful.
Yeah, I would rather spend the money on writers than on news racks. So if that's the model, it's the same idea. Journalists do the same thing, whether it's TV, whether it's radio, whether it's print, whether it's digital. We collect information, we process that information, and we deliver it to people in a way that's accessible to them. And that's what our job is. That will never go away. The world will, democracy can't survive without journalists. So the delivery platforms are changing, that's all.
Do you think that progressivism is on the decline in the Bay Area? Do you think that it's...
Not at all. I read the story in the Chronicle by Heather Knight, who I like a lot, that kind of said, the demographics are changing and the left doesn't have the power it once did. Well, I've been here a long time. I remember in the early 1980s when the left in San Francisco had no power at all. And Dianne Feinstein was mayor and she'd veto every good rent control bill that came up. And over the years, we've slowly made progress. The return of, the Amiano campaign in 99 and the return of district elections in 2000 really brought us up to another plateau. And now, we're in a situation where, we lose a lot of votes, 6-5 or 4-7. But I was here in the day when we lost everything 9-2. So I don't feel like we're in the decline. I feel like the struggles are just greater. I mean, the struggle against gentrification, displacement, and all the evictions is really a defining struggle for the future of San Francisco.
Do you feel like, though, that progressivism, is in a different position when it's defending the status quo versus pushing for certain rights and legislation, as opposed to, advocating for LGBT rights is sort of, something that you do that's a moving forward action, as opposed to a sort of let's stop gentrification, let's stop evictions.
It's always a challenge. What do you do on the left? And it tends to be that when we're in the majority, we move forward with stuff. Universal health care. for example, in San Francisco, was something that with a majority on the Board of Supervisors, we were able to move forward. And when we're in the minority, it's more of a rearguard action. Oh my God, let's stop this awful thing from happening. But, you know, it's always both, and as I say, it's incremental. You know, we were talking earlier, Melissa, that in a sense we are victims of our own success. We have succeeded so much. We have passed so much good legislation in the last 10 years that now we have to go to the next level. But at the same time, San Francisco is under assault. I mean, the evictions and the transformation of neighborhoods, the destruction of the industrial base, the destruction of low-income communities is a constant battle. And it's something that right now has to be and is the focus of the progressive movement in San Francisco.
And finally, could you explain the name 48 Hills, where that came from?
Yeah, there are 47 named hills in San Francisco. There's some dispute over whether something's actually a hill or not, but most people agree there's 47 named hills. But those of us in the social justice movement know there's always one more hill to climb.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm really happy to be here with you.
For Bay Sunday, I'm Melissa Griffin Caen.